Okay, welcome back, family. So in this video here, we're actually going to just focus on reading the Declaration of Independence. Now, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of Besorah Nation is an all-in-one document. However, I don't want to make the video too long, so that way you guys can digest this piece by piece, okay? So, as you know, declaring your independence is when one body of people are declaring their independence from some form of presumed or assumed authority over them. And in this case, it will be the United States, all right? A lot of our people do not understand the basic fundamentals of civics, and because of that, we are tolerating tyranny and oppression. When you understand civics, you understand how to fight this correctly without having this idea where they're labeling you some form of a rebellious group, okay? Everybody on the face of the earth has a right to declare independence from any assumed or presumed body politic when there has been a breach of trust, okay? But if you don't have the knowledge in how to declare your independence, then you'll be subjected to whatever it is that they want to label you as, and that's very important to understand. So, how does so-called government get power and assume that they have the right over you? Well, the truth is they don't have any inherent power over you. It all starts from a trust agreement. When you understand natural law, from natural law goes down to positive law, which is supposed to exist in the matter of trust, or what we call today trust law. Okay? So, the only way somebody can exercise authority over you is if you gave them permission to do so, all right? And perhaps your mother or father gave the permission to have authority over you, because trust agreements can run from generations to generations, okay? Now, this authority is really an agreement of physical protection as a beneficiary from other outside potential threats, etc., all right? But what I need you to understand is that all contracts or trust agreements should have equity on both sides so that all benefits in one side is not greater than the other side. Now, if one side is greater than the other side, then there has been some sort of corruption, and one needs to learn what that corruption is, because that means there has been some form of breach of trust or deception, which still is a breach of trust. When there is a breach of trust, the beneficiaries of that trust has a natural right to seek redress in multiple forms. One of the forms is declaring your independence and creating a new trust, which will benefit those who have been affected by the trustee's failure to not pay the debt of their words they owe to the beneficiaries, because our word is our bond. The new trust agreement establishes protection and benefit the victims in a righteous way, forcing the criminals who breach their side of the agreement to grant the victims relief from tyranny or oppression attempted to be bestowed upon them.
In scripture, it says, oppression caused a wise man to go mad, all right? So anytime that you experience oppression or tyranny, and you understand natural law and you understand trust law, well, absolutely you're going to go crazy, and you should go crazy, because you need to fight for your rights when somebody is trying to impose their will and tell you to bow down as if you're some sort of natural servant to them. You're not a natural servant to them. Even slaves are entered into a servitude status via a contract. So that is how all things operate. Nobody has an inherent right over you. Everything is done with humans in a positive law sense, which is equal to that of a contract. So that's what positive law is. It means that we establish an agreement where both of us benefit. Okay, so a slave, in essence, or AKA an employee, because we use these terms interchangeably, but they're one and the same. All right, you made a contract with a corporation in order to be in a position to actually survive or to take care of your family, whatever that motivation is that caused you to make that contract in that status, okay? But all contracts is to have a full and honest disclosure, okay? Anytime there is no full and honest disclosure, it is not a valid contract, okay? By natural law, there is some form of fraud. And if there's some form of fraud, then they're stealing in some capacity whatsoever. All right. So this is what we need to understand while we adopt this Declaration of Independence and understand where it's coming from, what is the cause, all right? And then moving forward, everyone that is going to be part of this body is now going to forever take responsibility for their rights and make sure that their children are extremely aware of their rights and entitlements as well when we enter into contracts, all right? So I wanted to make sure I get that out. That way we can stop with the confusion and continuously playing politics, okay? The United States have demonstrated an unfair contract, and they have caused great deception on the people. And the only way that they can continue to exercise this sense of authority and force is through this deception. But once you are informed, now you're able to apply the law properly and then see how they respond from there. Now, we know that once you actually learn the law and start to apply it to your life, in their realm, they still may exercise this sense of tyranny and oppression where they won't give you redress. Now, when you experience that, it shows you straight up that you're not in a society that is playing fair. And once you understand that, then it's time to create another body that's going to protect you from any type of institution that is being a hypocrite, okay? And then you can hold them accountable because now you have protection and you have people that's sticking together to hold this institution accountable, and that is what we need to do. So pretty much that is the fundamentals of civics, okay? So let's go ahead and dive into this Declaration of our Independence. And in this document, you're going to learn everything that has transpired in the past 500 years since the destruction of the Moroccan, or what we call Moorish Empire, that our forefathers were responsible for building. Okay? So, with that being said, tune in, and I'm going to give you the proper interpretation on this entire thing. Everything that I say here is absolute facts. If you don't understand something or you don't believe something, by all means, you can email me and I'll go in more depths, show you receipts, whatever it is that you have to see, so that you can get a clear picture of what's really going on here and how slavery truly started. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the read of the Declaration of our Independence. Okay? And so all those who join the nation understand this is what you're adopting, and you're going to understand a lot of what has happened in history, as I've already stated before. So let's go ahead and dive in. When in the course of human events begin continuously, bathed in depravity, clothing themselves with hypocrisy and misprision of treason against the Moors, being the true light bearers who have been chosen by the Almighty God himself, we understand it becomes necessary for the one group of people to suspend the political bonds that have tied one another. This act is not to be undertaken lightly. Such a decision has arisen from compelling causes rooted in desire for justice and divine reasoning, not mere convenience or personal ambition. The natural divine order, governed by the laws of nature and of the nature's creator, grants all peoples an inherent right to self-determination, the right to privacy, and the right to contract unlimitedly, allowing them to claim a distinct and equal position among the nations of the world. However, this right carries with it a solemn responsibility, wherefore, seeking separation, we the Moors, who are known by the world to be the set-apart ones of Yashra'al, also known as the true ancient descendants of Jacob, articulate our grievances clearly and offer justifiable reasons for these actions, lest the motives be misunderstood or dismissed as reckless or illegitimate. All right, and so as you can see, that clause is stated there because, again, when we're declaring our independence, we want to make sure that the very people who have established some form of trust, which they have breached, do not try to misconstrue us as a rebellious group. Okay, because we're not rebellious. They have breached the trust, and therefore these are the consequences. Okay, now also what you will learn in this, and you see in this, is that I am interchangeably using Yashra'al, also known today as the true Israel, and the Moors, okay, interchangeably. Now, the Moors and Yashra'al are one and the same people. What we are missing is the big picture of the puzzle, okay? in 1492, when everything started to take place, all right, they were destroying the Moroccan Empire. Rome, aka the Christian powers, were dismantling and trying and conquering the Moorish or Moroccan Empire. Okay, now the children of Yashra'al is a major builder in the Moroccan Empire. Okay, in fact, we were the ones that really built the Moroccan Empire. However, the Ishmaelites, aka the Arabs, in contemporary history, they're taking the credit as the founders and the builders. Okay, now they're not the builders. We partnered together and built that empire. Okay, that lasted 700 years. Now, but when we learn the little basic history that a lot of our Hebrew brothers understand, and shout out to them because they've done a good job in their research, what we see that they focus heavily in the area of what took place in Spain and also in west coast of Africa and in Portugal, etc. Okay, but that's just one half of the puzzle. All right, we still must understand the history that took place with Columbus and all of the other events when they were setting sail in our land. Okay, and we'll go in more depth with giving people a better understanding of that. But we are the founders of the Moroccan Empire, and therefore we are Moors as well, and we need to understand that. So it's not to say that we are Arabs or Ishmaelites or anything like that, but we were one at a given time, and what we're doing is we're rebirthing that sovereignty because we were respected in that capacity as Moors. And we understand that our actual nation was destroyed in 70 AD, but we had created a nationality when we established that Moroccan Empire. We have established international treaties with this particular empire, and these treaties are still present to this day and still enforceable to this day. And this is how we're going to reclaim our land, along with enforcing the Europeans who have breached the trust to give us reparations. Okay, because they are absolutely guilty and they understand that. Okay, so they're doing their best to prevent us from nationalizing, but here we are nationalizing. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue, and you get more understanding of what happened or why our people don't understand this for the most part. But shout out to the Moors who've been trying to make this aware for a very long time. And at one point in time, really quick before I continue, I subscribe to the idea that we weren't Moors, right? But I understood that this idea started to gain a lot of attention, and I wanted to see how it fit in prophecy. Okay, and so I studied the matter extensively and found out that, okay, this is the other side of the puzzle that a lot of our brothers who are Hebrew scholars are not privy to. But here with Besorah Nation, we're bringing all of these elements together and getting a full picture of the story on what actually took place. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue, and you'll learn much more of what happened, so that way you are now very proud in taking the steps that we're going to be taking. The history of the United States of America, major and minor, have illustrated a deep history of perpetual atrocities and usurpations against the Moors. To prove this, let facts be submitted and truth stand to be spread over the face of the earth. Moorish history of the Americas is profound and extensive and largely obscured by centuries of systemic erasure. The principalities' knowledge, culture, and influence predate the arrival of European colonizers, shaping much of the early world in ways that are rarely acknowledged. We the Moors, as bearers of advanced sciences, mathematics, philosophy, architecture, and governance, carry a legacy of enlightenment that laid the foundations for what will become cornerstones of quote-unquote Western progress. Even as these contributions permeated European knowledge, the colonist powers exploited these advancements without regard for their origins, extracting wealth and power while failing to honor the source of legacy. The United States and European monarchs has plundered the vast estate and resources belonging to the Moors. They have benefited immensely from the free labor that created generational wealth and power for their successors from the cruel enslavement, grand theft, and reclassification of those who shared Moorish ancestry. As the quote-unquote Holy Wars and Spanish Inquisition began, the so-called quote-unquote Atlantic slave trade unfolded due to papal bulls, edicts, and the secret treaty of Verona by European monarchs and the papacy. Many descendants of the Moors, who are the indigenous peoples of the Americas continental landmass, were deliberately stripped of their identities, language, and lawful status. In reclassifying the Moors as Negro, colored, black, Indian savages, or African Americans, and many more derogatory names, colonial and feudal systems sought to erase the nationality, sovereign identity, hereditary rights, and cultural lineage that the Moors possessed. The Naturalization Act of 1870 restricted sovereignty under code words U.S. citizenship to free white persons, presumptively being held only to that of Caucasians, further entrenched the dispossession. Moorish Americans became naturalized in the United States under presumptive legal statuses as Negro, colored, black, etc., thus relegated to a status of statelessness, non-descendability, and labeled civil liter mortuus. Through conniving legal tactics and language of legalese, defining common terms associated with swarthy people as legal statuses, the United States proposed plausible deniability and justification for their dehumanization acts based off Moors' consent to be classified as such. However, this was derived from deceitful measures to give the appearance the Moors consented to their own injustice, therefore disabling them to invoke their full rights and hereditary claims in a system that denied Moors natural sovereignty and historical connection to the land of the Americas. All right, so basically what I'm pointing out here is just straight up facts. Okay, so we understand that our melanin can be extremely dark, right? And it could be next to that of black, okay? And so therefore we're not uncomfortable with the terms Negro, black, etc., etc. In fact, we take pride in our divine essence, okay? But the problem is what the Europeans have done is they have taken these things that we take great pride in our divine essence, and they turned them into legal statuses, okay? And now when we say that we're black or colored or Negro or any of these different adjectives, what we're actually doing is consenting and subscribing to a legal status, which is what we call civil liter mortuus, which means that you're civilly dead in law. So that means that you have no rights, and then they can treat you however they want to treat you, and there is no legal or lawful consequences. All right? Now, this is how they created their legal system, and you learn all of this truth in their Black's Laws Dictionary. Okay? All right? And so I find it ironic that they call it Black's Law Dictionary, right? But in the Black's Law dictionaries, this is how they're using reason in order to justify how they treat us, okay? And this is what we're not privy to as a collective. So it would be nice if we would learn this and we go about, we say, you know what, we're not black, we're not Negro, we're not none of that. And that's facts. We're not that in terms of the legal status that they're trying to put us on. But a lot of our people are dark, and we know that some of our people could be dark as pitch or black as pitch, okay? And we are moreno, and that could be dark brown, etc., etc. However, that's just our divine essence. And many of the Moorish brothers would say we need to stop calling ourselves black, colored, Negro, because we're subscribing to this legal status and it's being used against us. I understand that a lot. The problem is our people have developed this term and we will not let it go because we have owned it, just like we've owned other terms like, what up, my nigga? You know, what's up, nigga? You know, we've embraced that, right? So if we're going to embrace these other terms, we need to redefine it, just like we redefine nigga meaning king, right? Or naga, right? So we understand that. So we just how we redefine that, we need to redefine black. I would present one of the ways to redefine it would be black being an acronym. Beyond light, all creation kindles. Because in the beginning, the Most High created the heavens and the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, right? And the Most High said, let there be light, and there was light, okay? And light came out of the darkness, and therefore we also operate on that same principle where we are dark, but light comes out of us, right? And we are walking light. So that's just a nice proposal that we can use and when we redefine this definition of black, because we have to acknowledge and call out the fraud that has been done to our people and clear that up so they could no longer use these legal tactics against our people. Okay? And so we will acknowledge that our status is that of Moorish descent. All right? And our divine essence is that of being black. But being an acronym, beyond light, all creation kindles, right? Because darkness absorbed the light, and so or aka black absorbed the light as well. I mean, same thing, tomato, tomato. So we need to understand that, and everybody that adopts Besorah Nation and declares this as their document, part of what will be attached to this is your own personal affidavit declaring that you are of Moorish descent, okay? And that is your status, okay? And you're reclaiming your hereditary rights back to the land of Al Morocco, also known as the Americas, okay? So that way you now have reestablished your sovereignty, and they no longer can be confused on whether or not you're consenting to being black, colored, or whatever the case may be. All right? So let's go ahead and continue, because it's very easy to get off tangent. The United States is culpable of undermining the Republic, instituting a democracy, enslaving, trafficking, plundering, pillaging, molesting, swindling, murdering millions of Moorish Americans, forcibly dispossessing them of their own land, and acquiring massive amounts of wealth by free labor and other social and systemic means of oppression. By subjecting the Moors under brutal conditions of mutilation, the United States were successful to get the Moors to submit under duress and fear for obedience, resulting in catastrophic trauma. Wherefore the Moors have been put in a comatose state of existence politically, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, economically, and psychologically. As a result, these violations of international law and heinous crimes destroyed the Moors completely as a people, whereas the United States were able to help Rome extend their empire across all continents where the Moors' dominions were previously established, plundering all their virtue and wealth from their land and souls without remorse. Despite the historic evidence of atrocities committed by the United States and European monarchs, they have proposed no retribution for the massive debt that is owed and due to the indigenous peoples of Americas, nor halted their efforts in subduing the Moors to a state of substandardization perpetually. Their history of the Christian black codes, Jim Crow laws, organized race riots, public lynchings, forced assimilation, mass incarceration, counterintelligence programs, discriminatory oppressive policies, and police brutalities is still present to this day, and has demonstrated the United States and European monarchs does not have the best interests of the Moors at heart, and have drastically breached the International Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which is the supreme law of the land. Now, for those of you who don't know, in the beginning, when the United States of America was established, they established a treaty with the Moors, okay? And this Moroccan treaty is called the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And you can go and look this up, and it's still out on the National Archives, okay? And it's still present to this day, all right? And so they have breached this contract. Not only have they breached this contract, but they also have violated international law, right? Because that's what the contract deals with. And this was divine, in essence, for us to come back the way that we're coming back, and because we're going to use this against them, right? Because there's no way that they can get out of this. All right, so what they're doing is they're hoping that they can keep us in this state of ignorance. They were thought of, we'll talk more about this, but they always exercise ideas on how to get rid of us entirely, right? Obviously that wasn't going to happen because the creator is in control. Nonetheless, they plotted on finding ways to literally complete genocide on all of our people, to actually take over our land indefinitely. Now, it's a real stupid idea. However, this is recorded, and we have the receipts to prove that this is exactly facts, okay? So let's go ahead and continue. In every stage of these oppressions, we the Moors have tried continuously petitioning for justice from the United States in historic measures on respectful terms, only to be answered with repeated injuries and scoffing. A nation state whose character is thus marked by every act which may define dictatorship is incompetent to be a governing body politic for a free people. Thus, declaring the causes for separation is an act of both necessity and integrity. It ensures that the decision to part ways is transparent, guided by principle rather than passion, and undertaken with respect for the judgment of humanity at large. By making our grievances public, the separating of the Moors signaled that our actions are not driven by lawlessness, but by a commitment to justice, and exposing the abuses that compel us to withdraw from the existing political arrangement. They fulfill both our duty to ourselves and to the broader community of nations, demonstrating that the pursuit of independence is not treasonous, but a rightful assertion of our inherent dignity and right. It is hereby declared and proclaimed that the corpus body of governance and identified as United States and its democracy is deemed rejected and void ab initio on grounds of treason. Furthermore, any and all unilateral and adhesion contracts entered into with the United States or any of its subsidiaries with parties of subjugated Moors that shall be protected by this trust are likewise declared rejected and void ab initio, having been established under practices constituting racketeering. Okay, so really quick before I go ahead and continue, what I'm doing here is I'm actually just stating the facts, right? All of their contracts that they have created with our people are unlawful because they did not have full and honest disclosure. Okay, they were legal, but nonetheless unlawful. And there is a difference if those who haven't studied jurisprudence understand. So many of our brothers are being subjected to so many different things. One in particular thing is child support, and the other one is many different so-called victimless crimes that is being used against our people. But anybody that comes under this body, all of those contracts literally are void. Okay, and you know, those who come under this body is going to be protected, and they are not to come against you without due process of law. Okay, and we're going to protect our brothers and sisters by any means necessary. All right, we're going to put all of these agencies on notice, etc., so that they could stop making claims that are false claims and taking advantage of those who are ignorant. So that is why that is being stated. Now, what that means is they have created contracts with our people and forcing them to be subjected to various consequences due to the fact that they put in a legal contract, but they're making it seem like it's lawful, right? Which is racketeering, because they know that they have committed fraud. All right, so that is what that basically is saying. Let's go ahead and continue. The entity known as the United States Incorporated, along with all of its de facto agencies and subordinate institutions, is declared null from inception due to collusion. Accordingly, the United States of America, both major and minor, is hereby demanded to restore and surrender all dominions, municipalities, principalities, estates, allodial titles, and all precious metals derived from the land to the rightful heirs, namely the Moors, recognized as the true and original indigenous peoples of the Americas by natural law and international law. Okay, so in this paragraph here, this is just stating nothing but facts. They came over here in a form of an agreement. They breached the agreement, and they exercised extraterritorial jurisdiction. All right, initially they only had access. Our forefathers only gave them access to what we call today the 13 colonies. Okay, so that was all of what the United States of America was. All right, but again, with the continuous warring against our people, etc., subjecting our people to all types of war crimes, we were subdued and conquered. Okay, and they were able to exercise extraterritorial jurisdiction over all of our land. All right, and so we need to be aware of this history in order to understand what we're adopting. All right, and a lot of the Moorish brothers, again, they're scholars in this area, and you can learn a lot from them in what I'm demonstrating to you right now. So let's go ahead and continue. Also, I wanted to mention that we're reclaiming everything that they have stolen from us. Okay, now what's interesting is cause and effect, or what we call you reap what you sow. Well, when you understand what happened to our people in 1492, well, it actually started before 1492, but 1492 was the actual culmination of everything, when we were completely conquered in Andalusia, and also known as Spain. That was one of our greatest strongholds in Granada. But when they conquered us there, what's interesting about that whole thing, we re-civilized them, right? We brought them out of the Dark Ages. We taught them all of the sciences, etc., etc. And once we got them up and running, they established a sense of intellect and intelligence but they behaved in a dishonorable way. So what they ended up doing was they said, okay, well, we understand that this is our land and that you guys are on our land, right? And so they understood that basic principle, right? That is true, that wasn't our land, okay? But we didn't conquer it through some sort of power, we didn't usurp them, right? We were there for many different reasons, through our own enslavement with other empires, etc. But I don't want to go down that real quick. But what I want to say is that when we established the Moroccan Empire, and Andalusia being one of our most known areas, we established a lot of wealth there, okay? And all of that wealth were wealth that was immovable, right? And they understood that. So what's funny is they said, okay, well, how about we kick them out of our land? And if they don't want to go out of our land, they're going to be subject to our terms, and that they're going to come under our jurisdiction in Christianity. Okay, and so that's why a lot of our people who call themselves Christians don't understand it's political in nature. All right, you're subscribing to some sort of religious aspect, but the whole ideology is political in nature. And when you're a Christian, that means that you subject yourself and you contract with Rome. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. All right. But what's interesting is they forced us to convert so that we may be under their jurisdiction, right? And then all of the wealth, etc., that we've established, they can now benefit and extract it and take it, basically, right? Because you're under their jurisdiction, their rules, right? And if you didn't want to do that, well, then you were going to be subjected to the Inquisition and or death, or your children or you being sold into slavery. So it didn't matter which way you went. They were going to make sure that they found a way to take your stuff. Okay? Now, fast forward 500 years later, we're waking back up, realizing everything that we have lost. Now, they have benefited immensely and established incredible amounts of wealth. And they have established this wealth all across the earth where our dominion was, and a lot of it here in the Americas. But now we're coming back, our understanding that this is our land, and no matter what they have created on this land, it was created by us, indirectly or directly. And a lot of the wealth that is established is immovable, right? So when we nationalize and reclaim our land, now they have no choice but to be subjected to our jurisdiction, or else they have to leave. Okay? And so I can get way deeper into this and even start to let you see prophecy fold out of scripture when I'm telling you this, okay? But I just wanted to point that irony out. It's not, it's funny, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and continue. This declaration of trust and independence is not subject to the discretion of any international court judge, country, papacy, or European monarchy. Any objection to or rejection of this declaration shall be required to be settled with the consular court established by the trust. And if no settlement can be reached, then shall a proceeding commence at an international tribunal. Through the acceptance of this instrument, the United States Major and Minor are hereby notified and shall act accordingly. If this instrument shall be dishonored through silence after acceptance of this instrument, United States Major and Minor shall have tacitly acquiesced and shall without further ado be obliged to follow and respect the declaration and proclamation without molestation against the Moors. The Declaration of Trust and Independence by we the Moors is not a renunciation of our natural rights or an abdication of our ability to engage in economic, social, or civic activities within the United States of America Major or Minor. Rather, it serves as a formal assertion of the Moors' intent to pursue self-determination and autonomy. This declaration underscores the expectation that our right to establish sovereignty will be respected in accordance with the Constitution, along with the international principles of self-governance, without forfeiting the Moors' ability to work, participate, or contribute within existing structures during the transitional period. Furthermore, this declaration also serves as a notice for the United States to acknowledge and facilitate this transition in good faith. The Moors shall expect appropriate time to be allotted for the orderly realization of our political independence, alongside reparative measures to expedite the process. These reparations, as a matter of equity, are intended to support the Moors in achieving full self-sufficiency, reinforcing our emergence as a distinct and autonomous body politic. The expectation is that both parties will collaborate to ensure a smooth and just transition, fostering stability and mutual respect. Besorah Nation is hereby declared and established by the undersigned trustor Yahudah Yashar Al, created this day, month, and year of our Heavenly Father Yahuwah, creator of heaven and earth, in accordance with the principles of trust law. The trustor, with the full legal capacity, conveys certain property and assets to the named trustees for the exclusive benefit of the beneficiaries as designated herein. This declaration reflects the trustor's intent to transfer all present rights, title, and interest in the trust property, severing personal control to safeguard the assets from spurious claims, assumptive creditors, and any future specious liabilities. Once executed, this trust shall be irrevocable, ensuring the trustor retains no authority to modify, revoke, or reclaim any part of the assets, thus reinforcing the finality of the transfer. So as you can see, this is an irrevocable trust, and I mean what I said when I said that this is real. This is not a game, okay? So I really hope, family, that you guys can see and you guys can read and see this is your freedom, okay? This is your freedom. Everything is done for you. All you have to do is follow the instructions, okay? We have a right to declare our independence, and this is the only way that we're going to demand our respect against the European monarchs, okay? If you continue to try to go to someone who is your enemy and ask for rights and forgiveness, we're out of touch with common sense, okay? When you understand our history in the other empires, we were never a docile, passive people. We always stood up for our rights, and we always prospered even in the midst of the empire. When they tried to attack us, we always stood up for our rights. The only time that we somewhat were passive was because the Creator literally told us to be still, okay? And that was during the first empire that was ruling over us, which was Babylon. And for the most part, that went well for us, for those who didn't fight back, because he told them, give yourself to Babylon, I'll make sure it goes well with you. Go ahead, plant vineyards, have children, it will go well for you, okay? But after that, when we were subjected to the Medes and the Persians, we established ourselves in a honorable way, and we were respected. And in the Grecian Empire, we absolutely rebelled and established the Hasmonean dynasty, okay? In Rome, we also rebelled, which destroyed our nation, okay? But Rome was rebirthed due to us re-civilizing them when they got put to sleep. So that is it for the Declaration of Trust and Independence, or should I say, that is it for the Declaration of our Independence. All right. In the next video, we will cover the entire preamble along with all of the articles of the Constitution. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Got a spiritual body, you couldn't touch it. If you dying to test it, then try your luck. That's the one up, don't run up, get done up. Loaded clip full of scripts, I'ma pull it. The word is my weapon, the word is my shield. I'm equipped for these spiritual bullets. They shoot at the perfect in secret. Reading these laws, it ain't flaw, so I keep it. Shout out to bishops and shout out to deacons, captains and officers. I see the reason they say what we doing is treason. God body, God army, God nation. My oblation, broken spirit, consecration. Kings and priests, shining brighter than a constellation. Nukes to the north, yeah, that's abomination. For all the lies and the blasphemy. Slay the dragon, hunt down the demons. Vagabond getting judgment, and you looking at the judges.
Yo, Israel the prince of the power. I came with an army, 144,000. We move like a unit, like Nike, just do it in here. Them lions come to devour, and no weapon form gon' prosper. And we in the building like lava. Shout out to Deacon, can't tolerate treason. No me, casa su casa. Come to my city, better check in. Picked up my weight, get my sets in. We do not tolerate threats, man. Our angels activate, let's in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're done. How you gonna see when he block out the sun? Where you gonna hide? How you gonna run? Come with a cavalry, striving for mastery, praying for vengeance. A holy catastrophe, build up the kingdom. Yeah, that is the strategy. Get it in blood. America gone in 60 minutes. Yeah, it is finished. No necromancy. Build up my walls. That's expansion. Roll with the sun. Many matches.
I pull up, we rollin', we deep
stupid and deep. Them angels invisible, watch how they creep. I know I'm elite, I know I'm the seed. I'm bought with a price, they want the receipts. I tell them the Bible is all that I need. I pull it, they leave, they make like a tree. No chosen, I know that you more like a beast. You rollin' with pride, but I roll with the meat. I don't need no naps, I don't need no sleep. Ain't selling no dope, but get changed on them streets. They conquered the west, I press to the east. Go pop with the Bible, extending my reach. Ain't toting no guns, but we got some range. Don't do it for dollars, we do it for change. Cut left from bleeding, the Bible to aid. They called it a murder, cause doctrine was slain.
Unprecedented events.
You are now flying.
SOT. Dream team. Let's go. Fervent heat. Let's go. Ay, 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 ay. Repeat after me. My G-O-D. He up top G. My precepts be on repeat. Your past ain't messing with me. I'm a SOG. 12 up boy, we the elites. We gon' turn this shit upside down, make it hot. 144,000 degrees. I've been a prophet since birth. Angels sent back to the earth. My nation was sold, I know we the gold. Don't try me, boy, I know my worth. Like Adam came out of the dirt. Image of God, boy, I know that shit hurt. It's brick in the city, we still on the block and we putting in work. Purple and gold on my shirt. We never rest, we alert. Saturday, pull up to campus, don't ask boy on Sunday, we blessing the church. I'm about to murk all these scoffers. Nigga, shut up, you getting this verse. He play with the fire, it's ashes to ashes, he don't need a hearse.
This is what the saints have been